and efforts to be here tonight. I'm just overwhelmed with the idea that we can really make this thing happen. It's pretty cool. Obviously, I don't do the dance thing. That was my best move. My son did teach me how to dab, though. And what's the other one? Yeah, I can do I don't know, there's some other,
there's a bunch of them.
No, crisscross was my age. I don't know what he does. He has some other move. Yeah, the floss, yeah.
Brad, show us the floss, man.
Yeah.
You're on for the floss, Brad. Come on. It's a must. He's going to do it. All right, yes.
Oh
my favorite things when Brad starts dancing.
All right.
Oh, I like that we have to zoom out for this. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Some BST on flossing?
Yeah. First order of business, dental hygiene.
I know there's lots of moms that need it out there. Lots of parents in general.
We can help them out. It's okay. I have a kid that actually uses that as a reinforcer, so it's really funny.
Them dancing or you dancing?
A little bit of both.
It's
really funny if we join him. So.
Hey, Lindsay. Glad you could make it. Sounds like a neat practice. Well, I'm excited. I have to show off my t-shirt because I just got it in the mail. So I think it relates to our OERs, but I got a t-shirt that says, "Eat pizza, take data." I'm very jazzed about it. Or maybe Canadians eat poutine, take data? I don't know. We like pizza down here.
We like pizza too.
Oh, good.
But also poutine.
I'm a huge poutine fan. Like after traveling, and my kid plays hockey in Canada. So we're my biggest thing is I don't care where we go, I'm finding poutine. Yeah. So all these small little towns in BC, we went to probably 10 different towns this year. It's oh man, some of them have some amazing poutine hidden in little tiny shacks somewhere. It's just cool. Yeah. Life is good.
Hello, Isa. I'm going to absolutely butcher your name, but can I ask what made you go from Brazil to Oklahoma? Because I get very similar questions from the fact that I grew up in California in the US and now I live in Missouri. So it seems like an unconventional move. The winds, which I understand. Yes, I have heard they are good. Wonderful. It's so good to see everybody. I've just joined that crew and the academic environment in the US. Somehow I feel a little bit uncomfortable saying I'm part of that crew, but I think we're here to try to change it, and that's pretty cool too. All right, Veronica, Dr. Howard, if you wouldn't mind, are we going to start introductions?
Let's do introductions. Okay, I put it in the chat, but for those folks who don't have access to the chat, we'd love to know who you are, where are you at right now, and why are you jazzed about OER?
Anyone feel brave?
Sure, I'll go. Ryan Sane, I'm in Spokane, Washington, and jazzed about OERs because I've been doing OERs for 20 years, and it's so cool to see it taking off, and not just taking off in general, but in our field. And I think it's something that's been drastically missing, and it has an opportunity to be impactful, and I think it meets some of Skinner's visions as well. And I think it's just freaking amazing that we're finally here and being able to do this and pulling off a special interest group and everything else. This is just super cool for me.
And as you stated earlier this week, which someday we'll have you explain further, OERs prevent kidnapping.
There's something to that, sure.
Something along those lines.
This gig just changed.
All right.
No,
And
we-
then I think, Rachel, did you volunteer to go next?
She's having audio issues, she says.
There's more than one Rachel.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Oh,
Rachel White.
Dr. White.
Oh no, that's okay. If Rachel Potter has connected, I'm not sure if she has yet.
We would
I'm
love to
Ra-
hear from you, Dr. White.
Well, I'm Rachel White. I am in Anchorage, Alaska, and I am interested in OER because I have a colleague who's passionate about OER and has been encouraging me to make more of my things open access. So I'm working on that.
She must be pretty cool.
Yeah, she's in this meeting.
We have another Anchorage individual. Do you guys all work together? Somewhat? Together apart, I guess?
A couple
maybe
of
these
them are
days?
students, I think, of Dr. Howard's, and I know Bethany.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
All right. I'm going to
I agree.
nominate Brad to go next.
Well, I'm going to say something nice about Dr. Howard real fast, and then Brad can keep going. But yes, I think Dr. Howard has done so much work in getting people excited about this issue and really explaining why it's important. So I love seeing that there are some proteges and coworkers and people connected to Dr. Howard in this meeting, because I know you guys are going to do some cool stuff too. Now you can pass it off.
I'm open. My name is
Of course
Brad
you are.
Bishop. Yeah, eager to go. I believe we were supposed to do it with jazz hands, correct? Okay, so my name is Brad Bishop. I live in Spokane, Washington, and I'm jazzed about this whole process because I got to start Psychor with Ryan, and this fun little adventure has turned into helping a bunch of other people follow the same kind of direction. So it's fun to see our little garage joke turn into something.
It's
All right, who are
definitely
you
like
passing
the
it to?
90s garage band that has turned into Nirvana. Like you guys are doing
Plenty
some
of
really cool
stories
stuff.
over the Cooper book and getting definitions right in flannel. So that totally aligns.
Excellent.
And
Well,
so
I'll
I
go.
know the,
I'm-
yay!
Is that
Like,
Sharon
I don't know.
Sophia?
Huh?
Sharon
Hey, Brad.
Sophia? She has to go. She follows the channel.
It's actually a he. It's Sharon.
Ah! Well, hello. Sorry about that. I've never seen the... Hello, I'm sorry about that. Awesome.
How are you? How's everything?
Going great.
Wonderful.
It
Tell
was
us
fun
about
to-
you.
Yeah, it was fun to know a name from the channel. So that's exciting. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So I actually got to find out about this group through Psychor. I've been watching a lot of Psychor videos for the past 2 years, and I got to learn a lot about ABA through this OER. It has really helped me tremendously. And this upcoming year, actually, I'm hoping to start my BCBA coursework, and I really feel like I'm ready to start, and I have so much, knowledge and information just because of, the videos that you guys send out. And I think it's so important that we have such a group that, we can, spread out the information in an easy way, in a free way, so that people can access it and, try to gain as much as possible. So I really appreciate all that everyone is doing over here. It's really a big help to everyone.
And
Oh,
I might
love
add,
that.
Sharon has been like the most prolific commenter on our channel, like hands down. I commented more than anybody else. And the questions have been interesting over the years. Like it started out as like expand on this definition. And now it's like, well, if you connect concept A with concept B, that leaves you with something that we haven't discovered in the field yet. And it's like, so I had to reply the other day, say, oh my gosh, I don't even think I can answer your questions anymore. Like they're getting too complex.
Good.
And he made it into a video on, what was it?
It was multiple...
Yes,
Yeah.
multiple baseline.
Multiple
Yeah.
baseline. Yeah, exactly.
He
So,
was a fellow nose picker.
woo, yeah, exactly. So wonderful that we have finally connected in person. So cool. Good to see you.
Sharon, not to call you out, but what an awesome example of like what we're trying to do here. Like you already have all this knowledge and expertise, and now you're going to go be a BCBA. But wait, you're asking questions that, sorry, Ryan, BCBAs that have been BCBAs for quite a long time are interested in answering, and that's, I mean, that'll only improve the field. So really cool. Thanks for
Thank you
being
so
here.
much.
Dr. Howard, you're like our assigner of who's next. So shall we
I
keep
want to
going?
nominate.
You should introduce yourself, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Veronica Howard. I am an assistant professor in the psychology department at the University of Alaska Anchorage, and I am jazzed about OER because I don't think a person's ability to pay for a textbook should be a barrier to their ability to be successful as either a student or a practitioner.
Well, that pretty much sums up our entire mission. Shall we skip that next part, or shall we move on to that?
Business meeting over, I guess. No. But, and I don't want to cut anybody off, but let's get into that chat. I mean, let us know where you're coming from. Let us know why you're excited. We do have a pretty full agenda for tonight, so I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Pavone. Just let me know when you are ready for me to start doing some slide transitions, and I will be happy to navigate us through tonight's presentation.
Sure. Is there anybody, I want to give like a brief 30 seconds. Is there anybody else that would not mind just giving us a audio version of why you're here, or who you are, where you're from? Otherwise, I'm certainly welcome to using the chat, and we can kind of go through our agenda. But if you're here and you want to say something, please just jump in.
I can go.
Wonderful.
Okay, so my name is Netta. I'm from Virginia. I am 3 weeks away from finishing up my capstone, and hopefully sitting, and well, 300 hours away for my exam to become a BCBA.
How
I'm just trying to figure out what the field's about. I already kind of know, but I only know one aspect of the field, which is working with kids with developmental disorder, but I know the field's diverse, so I just want to learn as much as I can before I go dive right in and become a BCBA, hopefully, fingers crossed.
When you become a BCBA, I hope you retain that passion, because there are so many other fields that we can make an impact on. I think we have such a powerful science. So, and actually, if you stick around, I think we're going to have some moments to talk about other getting your spouse to at least stop leaving the seat up. Yes, talk about some other applications of the science and some OERs where you can go continue to learn about that while you study. So hopefully won't take too much time. Selena, I see you everywhere. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi. Yep, I'm here. Here, I'll go ahead and turn on the audio. Oh, let's see here. Whoops. It's a call. Hi, guys. So I'm actually, yeah. So I'm here in Chicago. We're still on shelter at home here. So I'm just trying to be outside as much as I possibly can. So yes, that's why I'm taking this call outside. But yeah, just really excited to learn more about OERs. You know, there's a lot of unfortunate financial disruption here in Chicago, and just, you know, kind of always seeing that, but just wanting to know different ways to help. I have a lot of friends who are in the educational system, and they always have talked about, you know, different ways that they would like to help. And I've actually been in communication with a lot of my teacher friends, communicating about this, and it just seems like a really great idea. And I'm just really excited to learn more and how to contribute. Yeah. And I'm a BCBA as well. So, yep, that's me.
Wonderful. My son was born at Northwestern, so maybe not too far from you. And so we enjoyed our time in Chicago, but I understand you guys are still under some pretty restrictive protocols at the moment. So I'm glad you're getting some sunshine up there. Is Kelly here, Dr. Howard? I know she wanted to be, but I'm not sure she's here yet. I can't see the agenda or the participants at the moment.
I am here, Dr. Pavone.
Thank you. Selena, we'll have to connect you guys. Oh, and here's Dr. Powder's introducing herself in the chat too.
I can, are you able to hear me?
Loud and clear on my end.
Fantastic. So my internet's being like completely bonkers. I think ABAI has like destroyed my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, me too.
So I put it in the chat, but I am, I'm in Virginia. I'm currently a dean. I have a little over a month to go, and then I'm gonna have a really, really big party because I've been a dean for 6 years and I'm like over it. I really want to focus on my baby, which is our ABA program, and watch it grow and do great things, but not just within the context of our ABA programs, but just as an academic leader at our institution on executive staff, I see the barrier that our students are facing with having to acquire resources. And for many of our students who are first-gen students, it's a huge barrier, and sometimes they navigate the barrier and sometimes they just simply don't purchase them. So rather than have to have that fight, I would just much rather us have resources that are accessible to them simply because we want to disseminate the discipline.
I think that's why we're so passionate about this. Especially, did anybody, I know it sounds like there's actually quite a few of us that are instructors or some kind of facilitator of undergraduate or graduate education. And I bet that there's a lot of us that have seen this issue even more exacerbated in the last couple of months. I know I've had several students that, you know, we've had to kind of counsel them through, do I drop out because I can't buy textbooks, or is there some way around this because, gosh, I've done so much work and I've put so much into this and now financial burdens are the barrier. And I think in the last couple of months, that's just become even more salient, so.
I think really what we're doing has multiple prongs, right? So it's about our students and meeting their needs, but it's also about making sure that we can model this for our faculty, because at least again through that dean lens, which I'm very happy to be letting go soon, faculty have difficulty with this too, because they get often very rigid in this, everybody has to buy my textbook and if you don't, you're going to fail and that's your problem, right? So how can we model and empower our faculty as well?
And that's so as a behavior analyst, right? Like we're such an optimistic field. Everyone should be able to learn. Everyone should be able to achieve and go help people. I think this is such a great way to encourage that. So thank you for being here. I don't want to even say like introducing yourself. Thank you for supporting this idea because you've been so influential, and many of you have. Everybody that I've seen so far introduce themselves. You've all already gone around and been supportive of this mission, doing it in your own way. And I feel like if we can all connect, there's certainly more that we can do as a group than any of us could do individually. But I think we all have something to lend. So really, really excited. Darlene, were you able to say hello as well? Maybe.
You hear me?
Yes.
Hi, yes, I'm not able to do video, but yeah, so I chair a department of psychology and we have 600 undergrads and about 200 grad students between 3 graduate programs. And I also coordinate a behavior analysis grad program. So like many of you, I've been very interested in open educational resources and really kind of disappointed at the lack of them in our field, because psychology in general has a lot, but I don't think behavior analysis has enough. And I've often thought it'd be neat to have an OER for behavior analysis that, you know, but it's very difficult to get people to write for it.
It is. But I do think we're gonna maybe have a way to impact that. I think, you know, we'll talk a little bit about some of the projects that we've got going, but I also want to hear from everybody about what do you think we need as a field? What kind of OERs are most important that, you know, we want to focus our efforts on? And if we're going to put in that kind of discretionary effort to create something that could benefit all of us, what's going to have the greatest impact. So I'm really excited to hear from everybody about what your thoughts are on that as well.
So shall we get started?
I was gonna say, should we move on now that we've?
Shall we?
I've just talked for a while.
It was lovely. Okay, so just want to make sure you guys are following along. Can you see the agenda on the screen? All right, I'll turn it back over to Dr. P.
Me again? All right, I can do that. Okay, so again, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's taken their time to be here. I do hope it's worth the time that you're putting in here. And I think tonight what we're kind of our main points here is I do want to give you a little bit of history and the mission of the SIG in case you're brand new and you're not familiar with what we are hoping to do. We're going to go ahead and announce our election results for the upcoming year to 3 years, depending on the position. And then I'd like to share some of the things that we as an exec board have kind of put together for the next year, but also get you guys' input on where we're going to go. I mean, we're a baby SIG. We're ready to kind of take this where we are going to be most useful, and we can only figure out where that is from our members. So at the end, then we're also going to give you guys kind of that nice reinforcer for coming here and spending time with us. We're going to showcase some of the OERs that are out there that you may not be aware of, so that if you are looking to immediately start adopting things, you don't want to wait on whether or not we can go create them as a SIG or figure out how to solve those problems. You have some places to go look for them, and some really quality resources that people have created just on their own time, which is absolutely fantastic. So let's go over that mission real fast. So our basic mission is just to promote the adoption, creation, and dissemination of true open educational resources and behavior analysis. We have some specific goals related to that mission. The first would be to provide information about those resources. So while we are going to focus on OERs, we may at times also help you guys find open access resources. However, our main focus is going to be those real OER type of education, training, and research resources, so that you guys know exactly how you can incorporate those into the types of training that you provide for other behavior analysts or for students or for parents. I think we can use them all over the place. I also think a great goal of our SIG is to provide this type of forum, this type of communication and collaboration, so that we can develop new OERs. We can work together on projects that we are all passionate about and capitalize on that. We can reduce that individual effort that as we get to our showcase, you're going to see some folks out there are working so many unpaid hours just to help the field. But maybe we can reduce that if we work as a group together. And then also to support each other in this creation effort, right? To recruit reinforcement for the works that we do produce, even if they're not in that typical commercial publication venue. And just wait, we've got more goals. We're really passionate about this. So we also want to disseminate that information. We've got some wonderful folks here in our group and that are involved in our group that are really working on just spreading the idea that OERs are a thing, and spreading the idea that there are some resources outside of maybe what we traditionally think of as just ABA information. And then we will organize this annual meeting, right? So here's our annual meeting where we can talk about OERs, we can talk about all of our work, and we can, we're going to give you guys the financial information about our SIG, which is 0 and 0. We'll likely stay that way. All right. Am I also doing our brief but maybe exciting history, or someone want to chat about why this even started? I feel like this is maybe I'm going to say it out loud because that's, you know, a good prompt. Maybe Dr. Howard might want to introduce the idea of where this idea even came from.
Okay, picture it. ABBA 2019, right? So we're all there, we're all doing a panel, and we're like, you know what we need? We need a SIG. So we get together, we just do a little paperwork, just a little tiny thing. We come up with a mission. We're like, yeah, we can totally do this. No problem. We submit it. There's a number of questions. We are surprised by the questions, but it's fine. It's like any other peer review process. We're going to tackle this. We'll just make up some answers. This seems appropriate. Tappity, tappity, tappity. November 2019, we are formally declared a SIG. Now, okay, look, listen. It's been a little wild in Alaska, so I haven't been able to give it like my full attention, but we're here, right? So we've got like, which part are you dismissing?
Dr. Howard has given it so much full attention, so much attention, and so many hours. I don't think we should discount that. But
Dr.
I
Howard,
will allow you to continue.
If you get any more attention, it's going to be embarrassing for the rest of us. Not that it isn't already.
I was going to say, Ryan, aren't you already? Because I'm a little bit. I'm like, oh, she got me again. Oh, she finished that thing again. Oh, yeah, she's done all these things. Oh, she's prepared all these. Yeah, no, lots of hours have gone into this.
Like you guys both know I feel that way.
So November 2019, we are formally a SIG. Things are a little wild. You got the whole holidays, you got the whatnot and the who's what's it. We get things going. We have a professional development event. Very excited. We've got a website. I hope that you have seen it. We do our first event. Our first event was all about what are the Creative Commons licenses and what are your ethical obligations as a behavior analyst, as a person who is creating material, because we actually do reference copyright and intellectual property rights in our ethics code. And many of us are completely unaware of the nuances of copyright law. I don't understand how we haven't gotten to the point where you have to understand copyright law to get certified, but here we are. Now, that particular event, we will have to re-record, and when we do, we will post it, make it available to members. We can have, I think, a robust understanding of at least what the CC licenses are can be really helpful, especially if you are looking to create or disseminate some of your own materials. And our most recent event was with the Disseminating Behavior Analysis SIG. It was a delightful event. And we essentially talked about what are open educational resources and what value can they have to the field. Now, we will post that link in our member forum, and we can email it to you if you'd like to see it. Really lovely event. We are, I think we have some events coming up, which we'll circle back to, but that's it, relatively short.
But kind of exciting, right?
Yeah.
And who was it? No, was it Dr. White that said like this is her ABA program is like kind of her baby? I feel like this has become kind of like our not baby, but I'll see at least doggo. Like we're at least all trying to foster this in a way that has really grown faster than we could have ever imagined. And done
right. Oh, and I think Maggie froze there. And that face, I think, captures it all. Right? That is exactly what happened in terms of membership growth, in terms of like how quickly people got involved. And it couldn't have happened that way without some folks who were really there supporting us. So the Disseminating ABA SIG, or the Disseminating Behavior Analysis, excuse me, SIG, partners like Sitecore, who did the wonderful, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but the wonderful call for board members video. And they're too humble to admit it, but they stayed up super late recording that. And it really was a labor of love and a delight, because the first time I saw it, someone ran in the other room and they were like, "Did I just hear you on the internet?" And it was just hilarious. Partners and supporters like Bearded Behaviorist, you know, people who kind of are stepping in and supporting and offering just a little bit of something to kind of get us through. Because I think on a very basic level, we all agree that this is behavior analysis and we know that we should be giving it away. It's hard to actually get there. It's hard to know how to do that. It's hard to know what's the most effective way to do that. But I think we're all here because we agree that everyone would benefit by having access to these resources. We just have to figure out what's the most efficient way, what's the best way to get them out there. Dr. P is back. Okay.
Did anyone screenshot that?
I'm just typing the quote. I'm typing the quote in the chat so that we can all save it. This is behavior analysis and it should be given away. Like, oh my gosh. Can we get shirts? Maybe that's how we pay for the website.
The
Can we all
face
get-
of OER. That's what I see. Like,
Just
That's our motto. Right
That
there.
should be given away. I like it a lot. Rachel says yay shirts. All right. Well, I hope I can stay connected. We're having a wicked summer thunderstorm in Missouri. So I think that's what's kicking me out here and there. But I think I'm here now. Patimo's sounds good.
We've been very fortunate to have those partnerships, and especially fortunate because we have some coming up, right, Dr. P?
Absolutely.
So
we have a couple of CE events and a couple of kind of resources / publications that we wanted to tell you guys about. Those are the ones that come on. Ooh, Darlene, let's get with Beth Overturf. Let's get an OER blend from Operant Coffee. I think that's a great idea. But CE events, June, our own Brad Bishop is roped in to talking to us about the difference between OER and open. I think this is one of the areas where, for me, like as a total naive consumer of behavior analytic resources, it's something that I really didn't understand until I connected with Dr. Howard and Dr. Sain and really started to understand what the difference is and why it's important from different perspectives, right? Not even just from the creator or the consumer perspective, but how do we navigate our ethical code and how do we figure those things out? So I hope we will, yes. I also like that idea. OER versus open. Actually, you can't. No, actually, you might want to reconsider that. So please join us for that. All of our CE events are obviously open educational resources. So you're welcome to retain them, reuse them, remix them, put them into your own content, however you would like to. At this point, you do have to attend us live to get the actual learning unit credit, but that may change in the future. We've got some things in the pipeline. And then in August, we're going to start talking about open pedagogy. So those of you that are in an area, yeah, I would totally, we might need an OER dance next year. That might need to be what we do.
Too open.
But
too open.
Too open. Is there
Brad's in charge. No,
Are you sure?
I want to put a motion out there that that Brad is in charge of choreographing and recording a dance next year. If anyone would like to second that,
I will
OER
absolutely
TikTok.
make my children participate in that. I don't know if I will be on
you, Maggie.
Yeah.
The sprinkler dance. Oh, Veronica, stop.
We were all alive then. We're not that young. Maybe Selena is not, but sorry. So we're going to talk about open pedagogy. So how can we start creating these OERs if you are in a position to kind of engage students in this? I also think that's a great pass. Okay. But I also think it's a great opportunity for values-based modeling, right? If we start to introduce OERs in the way that we teach classes, perhaps then we're going to create a generation who's also excited about OERs and is starting to think about the ways that they can create them in their own work without necessarily putting in these extra efforts. A lot of times we're making these materials on our own anyway. And then in October, Dr. Howard has hooked us up with a really exciting idea about how we're going to use highlighting with hypothesis. And this is one I know I'm going to learn a lot. So I hope that as we get towards the fall, I can learn a little bit more about this and maybe even introduce it into my courses in January. And then I also wanted to look at, go ahead.
And
I'm in Missouri. I have to say at least like several times.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah, no. Yep. Just highlighting, no pun intended, what that means. So hypothesis is one of these amazing tools where you can actually kind of cover, almost like those old-fashioned what are they called? The clear plastic that you would kind of like put over something and you can annotate on it. You can do
Page
that
protectors?
digitally. Yeah, like a
I have so
slide
many
on a
of
projector.
those.
You can do that over a resource, like an open educational resource, and you can actually have your users annotating your open resource to like provide additional depth, or say like this needs a little bit of work, or it's just this beautiful tool that like facilitates open resources and dissemination. So I'm super excited, and the person who will be presenting that with us is another Open Ed Group research fellow who just recently took a position as a professor of psychology in Washington. So super excited about that. So she'll be telling us all about how she did this to include, or to increase the diversity and inclusion of students at, I'm going to mess it up, and I don't want to mess up which Washington University it is in front of Ryan. So I'm just going to stop talking here.
A university that does good stuff.
In Washington.
A Washington University.
And this is so cool too. If any of you, I wish we had the opportunity to raise hands. I don't know if I know how to do this in this forum, but if anyone was at the several different inner teaching in higher ed events that we had the last couple of days, this is something that I think could be absolutely integrated into the idea of inner teaching online. So I know I'm extremely excited to hear about this. And then a couple other things we have coming up. One, we do have the Dissemination for Behavior Analysis did give us a grant to produce an OER textbook. Dr. Hantacht, who's here right now, and I think she's still here. She's working with me on that project, and we should have it ready in January. Right now, it's already 532 pages, so we might have to actually start condensing things. But it's been an awesome project with quite a few collaborators. We have almost, I believe we have 21 authors right now who have donated their time and their expertise to write about things that they are passionate about and knowledgeable about in the field, and are willing to share that in an OER format. So I'm really excited about that. We've also been working on putting together an OER that links our 5th edition matrix. So for those of you that are already moved on to the 5th edition, we're looking at taking the 5th edition matrix and telling you exactly where you can go on the Sitecore YouTube site to find information about each of those task list items. So last year we did the 4th edition FK, just the foundational knowledge section, piece by piece with Sitecore's information, and such amazing feedback from folks about how helpful that was, and how much they were using that type of OER, that we wanted to take the time to go ahead and start looking at creating a full-length 5th edition kind of guide to how to find those OERs per subject or per task list item. And then, as Dr. Howard mentioned, we soon should have the re-recording of the March event that was about our different types of Creative Commons licenses and the ethics of using OERs in our field. So you should be able to access those pretty shortly. Cool. So this is the time where I get to stop talking. Sorry, Dr. Howard, done. But I want to hear from everybody else. If you're here, what would you like to see from our SIG? Do you have any ideas for topics for continuing education events? Are you out there trying to create something that you could use somebody else's help or expertise, or some type of collaboration on? We would love to hear from you guys about any of these topics. So feel free. Free test prep site. That's a great idea. One of the things I've been working on, I don't know if anybody's interested in this, but I did see some people still using SAF meds these days. I've gone ahead and started working myself just on a SAF med list for the 5th edition per task list item. There's a couple of areas, if anyone would be willing to collaborate and just kind of flesh it out with me, it's almost finished, but I'd love to put that out there for those students that do feel like SAF meds are helpful for test prep. But I'm open if anyone else has ideas about test prep. That's one of those areas I feel like is so, gosh, I can't get away from the word coercive, but that's not correct. But I think that there are so many people that feel scared about the test that sometimes folks can charge so much more than they necessarily need to in order to help people pass.
Well, currently preparing for the test, I do feel overwhelmed every day.
Sure.
Yeah, we, for our capstone, we're required to use the, what is it called again? Sorry, I have to go back. I was just working on that earlier today. The BDS modules, and they are dry. I'm just going to be very honest. They're extremely dry, and they make, like, when you first go through them, you just don't feel like you haven't learned anything in past 2.5 years of your graduate study. So anything that can make studying sort of fun, because we like
behavior development solutions, Dr. Howard.
Yeah,
it's very common, but yes, they're very dry. They are very useful, but I think as a group, like, that would be a wonderful project. Would be, how do we create a similar product that, one, doesn't cost, like, if you get it through capstone, great, but as an instructor, I know it costs several $100s to get access to that if you're not, and I think we could do that in a way that's not quite as dry. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because we make everything fun for our kiddos, so we should make it fun for people who are trying to be VC or trying to sit for that national board exam.
Oh, Dr. Howard, I totally forgot. I do have a mock exam that we should license openly too. And yes, gamification. I'm a big gamification person, just probably because I'm a gamer, but I think that would be fun. Nita, I really like that idea. You are probably extraordinarily busy studying and preparing and finishing capstone, but let's revisit that, because I think you'll find a lot of people that are willing to do that because they went through the same experience. Right?
Yeah.
We want to help the next generation not have to do that.
Yes, please. Other than that, I mean, I think I'm so far with the prep. Like, other than BDS modules, I find everything else so much fun in our field. And hopefully the exam wouldn't be that rough as BDS modules are. I don't know. I'm just nervous.
So Bethany, that's a interesting idea, because that's exactly what I did with our OER mock exam. Is in order to explain the concepts, I gave my little written explanation, but then we also linked them straight to Psych-Core. However, I just got told this week that I was not supposed to link those things to the cow pie Psych-Core videos, so maybe we have to go back. I don't know.
It's not that you can't link the cow pies, it's just that the cow pies are literally cow pies. It was the worst videos we have. That was an early attempt at PSI, Darlene. So this is a note for Darlene out there that Brad and I have a fair amount of history doing PSI stuff, and that was one of the early attempts. We moved kind of flipped the classroom around and put the videos out online first, and we chopped those up, and those became cow pies. Because they were.
Well, I use the cow pies, so.
Well, that's okay. They were very specifically targeted at a couple of textbooks.
So I think that would be an awesome idea, though, and maybe, Nita, maybe we could look at something even like creating, a series of questions like we get in BDS, but then linking them to better explanations. So BDS certainly gives you that immediate feedback, which is important from a behavior analytic perspective in learning, but having that additional opportunity, like, hey, if I didn't get it right, what else can I do other than just read what I did wrong might be neat.
Yeah.
Oh,
a lot of us, I can't really say for everyone. Like me, I'm more of a visual learner. So like, if linking to like a hypothetical case or like a hypothetical client would be very helpful.
Oh, Dr. Potter and Nita, you guys need to connect with Dr. Howard. And I'm sorry, Dr. Howard, obviously, but Dr. Hantak is really into creating like graphic organizers and visual ways of representing the types of topics that we have to learn. I think that would be certainly wonderful. And Rachel, Dr. Hantak is also extremely passionate about parent and family training resources. So a lot of us work in academia or more typical clinical settings. Dr. Hantak is actually works in our First Steps program in Missouri. So she does a lot of early intervention and a lot of parent collaboration. So we've talked a lot about how can we not just reach students, but how can we reach other people that are trying to learn behavior analysis, which is really our parents and our paras and our teachers and our interdisciplinary collaborators. So I love that idea. I hope you guys can connect also.
Yeah, definitely, especially nowadays because we are doing a lot of virtual health in Virginia. So it's hard for us to kind of navigate parents, and sometimes you wish you were there, like you can just reach across the screen, but it's hard. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love these ideas. Anyone else? What else can we provide as a SIG? I say we very broadly. Hi.
Hi, I'm Alina, and I wasn't sure, just like from the name of the SIG, what is the scope of it? I can tell you some stuff that I've encountered, and I thought something like this maybe be applicable to help, but I wasn't sure how far this goes.
Please share. Ask Ryan, how far does this go? We're gonna go as far as we can take it.
Okay.
We're gonna go all the way.
Okay. So
any ideas we're open to.
I'm doing like outreach work in other countries, disseminating stuff, and I'm not, as well known as you guys. I'm not published, and I'm just a student, but accessing like assessments and disseminating assessments is like difficult because of copyright. So like, for example, like I'm working with VB-MAP right now with the permission from the publisher, as long as the students, buy seats in the, the assessment, so to speak, which is fine. But without that kind of funding for behind it, it wouldn't be possible because it would be too cost prohibitive for the country where they're coming from. I mean, it would be completely out of the question. And I was wondering if a SIG could kind of push some publishers or some authors even, because I feel like if the author knew what we were doing, it seems reasonable they would support what we're doing, but they're like, no, you have to go through the publisher. So that's pressure is something I'm kind of wondering if you guys can do,
So I know Ryan and Brad have a lot to say on this, so I don't want to answer it on my own. However, I think that you are in the right place. Like that is exactly the type of barrier and issue that we're hoping as a SIG we can solve. I know one of my students is really passionate about particularly taking educational resources and translating them into languages where they're not necessarily accessible in that particular country where the language is most essential. But I'm going to completely defer to Ryan and Brad on this because they're actually experts on this. So I think it's a wonderful question, but I don't have a great answer.
We're talking about assessments. Like it's really, really challenging. Like
it is.
We ran into that problem doing international work specifically. And I don't want to get into too much detail, but it's awful. We ended up having to create our own resources. We didn't have money for even translation services because you take one document, you try to translate it, and then you have to back translate it to make sure that it doesn't lose anything. And that process is not inexpensive. And then to convince a publisher to do that openly That's a whole nother ball of wax. There are some organizations associated with UNESCO that you might be able to connect with. OERU is one of them. OER Universitas out of New Zealand.
One.
So there's a bunch of places, but that's an uphill battle, but it's one worth tackling. Especially if you have a university partner, then you can start to do your own psychometric work on some of these assessment tools and build your own. You know, you can say, okay, we're going to do this one. We're going to license it openly. So there's lots of faculty that would be looking for publication opportunities and research opportunities, and that fits with a lot of people's work. So that's just stay in touch and keep talking with people, and don't shut the door on the idea, for sure. I think that there would be a good, I think the SIG could be a good resource for connecting maybe faculty looking to do research in those lines with you, and so on and so forth, to continue your own. And who knows, maybe it becomes a dissertation topic for you down the road.
I feel already that it's going to be.
Yay!
I feel like it's already going to be because I'm so in this already. I'm done. I'm already in. But it's being a student, I don't fully know how to navigate some of that stuff. So for example, one big barrier is creating materials, like physical materials for instruction, right? Or for assessment even, or either in other countries. And you can only like go so far before you're plagiarizing, right? So like, for example, I'm referencing the specific assessment because I know I have permission and I'm not getting in trouble. But like, so for example, like for the VB map, there's some open resources that people have created that apparently the publisher hasn't contacted them to remove yet, I guess. So like there's the 300 down list, right? That's Sundberg's, right? Mm-hmm. Those images, most of them, I'm pretty sure, because I've been going by image, are copyright free, right? How, like, I need to know, like, they're in this thing that they claimed, even though all the images are free. Is it the order of the images? I mean, how much can I deviate from this? When I go to look for copyright free images, they're the same images, like, you know?
So Ryan, can we put that, I know you have a lot of information about this, especially with your work in Psychcore. Can we maybe, I love this idea. Can we put that as a potential CE? How do we navigate when we're plagiarizing and how much change we have to make when we create our own OERs? So she's going in to do some things that she may have to start from scratch, right? Like you have. We have to start from nowhere. But I think this is a wonderful idea.
That's a great topic. And it's really
I'm not going to give you the time to say no. I'm going to just keep moving on.
Let's say yes, let's move on. That's a horrifically difficult, nuanced thing, and there's no clean answer. So you just kind of sally forth and do your best and cover yourself legally as much as reasonable. And when in doubt, contact the original author. So anyway, we'll come back to that like another time.
But not far from now. Like I really do think I don't want to feel like I don't want you to feel like you're being dismissed. It's actually just because I think that's such a powerful, wonderful idea that I want to come back and give it the attention that it deserves.
That's
but I want to be relevant.
What's up?
That whole idea requires weeks of meetings. That's how fantastic that idea is.
That's like maybe that should be a mission for a year. I'm not sure, but we'll come back. What I do want to make sure we touch on before everybody has to leave is some of the things that are already out there. So I know we have some great ideas now about what should we do next, or how can we collaborate and put something new out there. But I want to make sure that those of you that are here also understand that we have some awesome stuff out there right now. So I think that's what's next on our agenda. Maybe I skipped something. Hopefully not.
Little bit, but you know what we can do it's not even, don't even worry about it. Let us go ahead and jump ahead to the Creator Showcase. These are materials that are 100% openly licensed, beautiful. You can go get into them now. So the first, and given that we have folks here in the room who are responsible for all of the amazing resources that so many of us are aware of, Psychcore. I'm not sure if folks are aware, Psychcore has over 700 videos. Among them, cow pies, which they're not proud of, but we love. I know, right? Creators are so hard on their own work. And guys, give us like a TLDR 30-second. Tell us about your Psychcore videos. We love them. Tell us more.
I do this all the time. You're up.
I'm up.
You're up.
Awesome. Psych-Word was the, I don't like that there's nothing here to help the people that need it. And here's all the videos out of Cooper Go.
Oh my gosh, that just made my heart like explode. I'm like the Grinch, like, oh, yes.
Yeah.
Brad, you posted a meme today that was from your perspective about what got you going. I don't know if you want to like hit on that, because that's really the ethos behind our company.
Yeah, what's really, really funny is apparently there's this General Ivo, I think. It's from an anime. I've never seen the anime, didn't even know about it. I have no idea what it's about. But there's this great meme where he says, sometimes the best thing you can do to get over your personal things is to help somebody else. Yeah, right? Yeah. And,
all the feels.
Yeah. Yep. And part of Psych-Core was that. It was literally, had some great ideas working with Ryan as an undergrad, made a lot of really fun, dorky videos. But then it got to a point where my BCBA experience wasn't great, and I didn't find like there was a lot of help. So it was the combination of the two of us coming together being like, you know what? This just needs to happen. For the sake of everything going on, this just needs to happen for anyone else that had the same experience I did. So through the process of studying, check this out.
Saving the world via Skinner's original vision, right?
There you go.
Yep.
And he ended up like, he made, I don't know how many hundreds of videos we sat there and wrote together and recorded and edited and went back and forth and constantly like 5, 6, 7 rounds of edits on them, and then, or takes. And then that was your study material. Like that was a huge round of studying to pass the BCBA. It was actually doing that. So then that would, so that's, it was awesome.
There's times
so I gotta call that point out though. Real fast, I gotta call that point out. And Brad, you can totally keep going, but like, did you hear that? Like, creating OERs is an awesome way to study.
Literally, like, if you recorded all of the moments you studied and got rid of all the cuss words and coffee, you'd come up with these great OER videos.
Yeah, because a student sufficiently motivated can change the world. And on that topic, we have, you know, the Bearded Behaviorist. If you follow him on Facebook, you are seeing all these wonderful memes that are coming out week after week. Brian also started a podcast. So a completely openly licensed podcast. You can download, retain, cut up, remix, do anything you like with that content. It is available for folks to use. And just was chatting with Brian the other day. He's also preparing for his BCBA exam. So everything that Brad just mentioned, everything that Brian is doing, these are all examples of open enabled pedagogy, which we will be coming back to talk about later this summer. So follow our updates. Now, most folks are thinking of materials as a kind of, you know, where do we usually start? We usually start with textbooks. And if you've seen the article in Behavior Analysis and Practice about where are all of the openly licensed materials at, well, they kind of don't exist, except that there are a couple of exceptions. Marcy DeRocher, for instance, Marcy DeRocher and Moira Fallon at part of the State University of New York system have a openly licensed textbook in functional assessment. And I want to repeat that one more time. A openly licensed textbook in assessment, right? So I'm looking very meaningfully over it at the person who needs those assessment materials. And so this is a really,
it's really
beautiful,
cool. And it even has graphs.
It's so good, right? And I'm so sorry. Picture it. Last year's ABAI, 2019. I saw Marcy DeRocher. I lost my stuff. I'm like, ah! And it happens sometimes. I tried to keep it together. I failed.
I was too naive to lose my, baloney. Sorry, I live with a Marine, so I was about to say something else. But I totally would have, now that I'm familiar with this text. It's wonderful. And it's good for, like, I think it's, I don't want to, everyone else can have their own, you know, opinion, but I also think it's good for parents. Like, it's written in a way that you could disseminate it in a higher ed way, or you could use it to explain to parents or other practitioners like why this stuff is important. So it's very accessible, and it's wonderfully written. What a wonderful piece of work.
Yeah. Speaking of materials that are wonderfully written, another university doing amazing things and making openly licensed materials available, the Oregon system as a whole, with Portland University especially, and Professors Sennett and Lohman are from Portland State University. So they have a full textbook, comprehensive, individualized curriculum and instructional design. That sounds assessment adjacent. Just dropping that down there in case anyone needed that. We'll also make these slides available for anyone who wants to refer back to them, because I know this is a lot of material, and the worst thing about attending a conference sometimes is not having the ability to take those notes as quickly as you'd like. So we're going to share those back to you. Now, we hope that you are going to be able to join us next year when we can highlight more creators. But what I want to make
maybe
sure
some
that
of you,
right? No pressure. Dr. White, no pressure. But one thing I want to make sure that we don't miss, because this is pretty important, these are the folks who are going to be guiding and leading us for at least the next year, possibly longer, 2020 election results. So I am going to just take the pleasure of announcing these results. We asked our members on Wild Apricot to elect to cast their ballots for leadership for the next year. So I'm happy to report that our interim president, Dr. Maggie Pavone, will continue to be our president for at least the next year. We also had 3 staggering board member positions. So for the next year, Clint Evans, I want to say behavior chef, but tell me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Behavior chef is going to be a board member helping to guide our group. And for the next 2 years, Dean Potter, soon to be just Dr. Potter, but Dean Potter.
I was going to say, isn't she excited to not have that title?
I know, but I'm excited that she has that title, so I want to use it while I can. Will be a board member for the next 2 years. And then, of course, everybody knows Ryan. Ryan will be he looks super excited about it too. Will be a board member for the next 3 years. And of course, we look forward. Yay!
I love this thing. So I just thought it was kind of ironic that I'm going to be working with a colleague of Rachel's next year, starting this fall. And that's really exciting that 2 of us are on the board together. So from the same institution. So
This
as
is
Maggie would
Rachel.
say.
I have to say that it is every time I talk to a prospective student about our program and they're thinking about coming to Mary Baldwin, I'm like, you should go check out Psychor. You know that guy? Yeah, he teaches for us.
Sweet.
Well, I tried to
super
steal
excited.
him, but my university said no more adjuncts this year. But you be careful, Rachel. I'm gonna come after both of you soon.
I'm a one-person department, so I don't have a choice, but the choices I have are wonderful.
So exciting. Woo-hoo.
And
Thanks
so,
for everybody that
forgive
voted.
me, we did, just for the sake of time, kind of move through a lot of that content very quickly, but I promise these slides, the recorded video, they'll be available for our members either in the forum on our website, or if you follow us on Facebook, we'll also post them there. And if you need anything at all, you can always reach us via email. We're happy to share anything that we have with you.
And then certainly if you're in the chat and you propose an idea for connecting with someone else, obviously most of you are probably going to be involved in either the Wild Apricot or the Facebook groups. You can connect that way, but please feel free at this point, share contact info if you feel comfortable doing so. I'd love to see some of these projects move forward, and please know I'm happy to support them in whatever way I can. Sometimes universities have weird resources we can share. I'm always happy to do that. But even just personally, I'm always open to meeting with somebody and talking about how we can move something forward that you've got stewing in your brain that you want to make real. So excited to work with everybody, and what a wonderful turnout. I'm just so excited that this is really moving forward, Dr. Howard. This is like not a pipe dream. It seems like it's kind of a thing. I hope we can make it something that's reinforcing for everybody.
Yeah, come on back for reinforcers.
Yeah. All right, all. I'm gonna go ahead and sign out if we're done. I think we're about there, but if anybody wants to get in touch with me or anyone else on the board or just in general, and please don't hesitate. Dr. Howard is such a wonderful coordinator and expert. She'll get us connected. And I look forward to seeing what we can do this year.
Excited.